All right, so sorry in advance to the Toronto fans, but we have to do it. We have to see what a world would look like if Mitch Marner would have been traded before the season started. Now, we know now, hey, it's too late. Season's over. Leafs once again doing nothing as far as going deep into the playoffs for the, seventh straight year, whatever it is. They continue to say, let's keep throwing out the same core and hoping something different happens. Instead of going into the season saying, you know what, there's a chance, good chance Mitch Marner does not stay with us. Let's trade him, see if we can get a piece in return. Maybe a bruiser, maybe a kind of guy, a middle of the pack, maybe a Sam Bennett type of player, but, obviously not Sam Bennett. And maybe some future compensation. Instead, the Leafs say, let's run it back. The first 6 times were a fluke. This time is going to be different. So let's see. Let's just take a quick little look. What would have happened? Right now, the Vegas Golden Knights, as crazy as it is, a team that knows as well as anybody how to circumvent the cap, is the odds-on favorite to get Mitch Marner, I believe. It's like 230. I mean, going into it was the Blackhawks. Now we're seeing the Vegas Golden Knights. So we're going to trade Mitch Marner to the Vegas Golden Knights. Now, he does have a no movement clause. That does obviously make things difficult. But as we know, if this is the kind of guy that once that he's a free agent, he's going to choose where he wants to play, I'm sure he would like to play for the Vegas Golden Knights. I always forget that this is part of the game this year, and we're just going to have to, frankly, remove this from the game, players, so we can continue on. Look at that trade value. Woo. Bada bing, bada bang, just like that. We just had to tie him up a little bit, and hey, Marner said, you know what, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We'll waive the no trade clause. Go ahead and slide him on in there. Let's take a look at the Vegas Golden Knights. We know we got a lot of trade value to work with here with Mitch Marner. I'm going to tell you right now, my eyes are set. The Leafs are going to go after a defenseman, no question about it. Would the Vegas Golden Knights be willing to move a defenseman, though? Let's take a look. We have 1 year left on Shea Theodore's contract. 1 year left on Shea Theodore. You have 3 years on Pietrangelo. Originally, I thought Pietrangelo would be the guy. Would they potentially work this one out here with the modified no trade clause? I believe they are a team that can be worked with, if I ain't mistaken, right? That's how the little thing works. I'm not sure. We'll click on it. See what happens. But Vegas to be over the league maximum salary cap. Vegas is going to have a cap problem. We do know that. But I mean, this is a case where we say, Marner ain't going to stay. You go and get yourself a good defenseman. You change the culture. Vegas is saying, if we can afford Mitch Marner, somebody's going to have to go. And just to make sure, 1 year left. Just to make sure, I mean, where do you go from here? If you're the Toronto Maple Leafs, who is the Vegas Golden? I mean, I have to assume at Shea Theodore, you're done. You're now getting draft picks after this. Right now. Vegas has sold the house for plenty of years to come. So maybe you don't get a draft. I don't even know what we're doing. Maybe you don't get a draft pick. Maybe they look for something else because a second rounder, nothing else. That's probably not going to entice the Toronto Maple Leafs. But again, remember, you are getting a very good player in return. Where else do you go? Do you look at a guy like Riley Smith, a bruiser? Counts against the cap a little bit. Again, Vegas is going to have to make some cap space. Toronto's going to have to pick somebody else up. Riley Smith, I don't know how I feel about that, though. A sniper. I called him a bruiser. That's not very bruising-like. I mean, unless he's shooting a puck at somebody. You have White Cloud. You have Wall. Wall's making $2.85 million. He's the third line checking for. Maybe that's the type of guy they're looking for. Would the Vegas Golden Knights wheel and deal with that with 3 years left on the contract? Now Toronto would be over 50 players in the organization. Toronto says, all right, 1 second. We'll go ahead and throw on just about anybody. Any and everybody will work. You can have Lawrence. He might actually be making money. No, he's not, as he shouldn't be. Take Lawrence. Vegas will be over the league maximum salary cap. Even in this situation, Toronto would have to retain a little bit. I don't think that's a problem with Toronto. It's a 1 year contract, whatever. We'll retain a little bit. That gets you into the situation that will help in the future as far as saving caps. Oh, maybe. How much we're retaining? How? A little wild here. There's 2.5. Vegas would still be over the league maximum salary cap. You're going to have to give up a little bit more, Vegas. At this point, we're giving a lot. But your returning is a lot. This is a player. See, the thing with the NHL, it's crazy, is it's a player-for-player swap. As much as we would like to get more, we're going to get more. If EA's willing to wheel and deal, we're getting more. You're going to give us a second. You're going to give us 2 seconds. Would like more than that. We are retaining some contract here. Would you give us a second and a 2027 first? Could be a long time from now. Maybe Vegas is old though. Vegas could be a lot older in 2 years. Gives the Leafs a chance to retool down the road, have some capital, maybe even trade for another player. And you're going to get a defense. I was going to say young, but he is 29. You're going to get a defenseman. You're going to get a center. You're going to give up Mitch Marner. You're going to lose a lot there. Is this the trade that gets the job done? It looks like you could throw on a little bit more. We're going to throw in another pick. We're going to throw in another pick. Absolutely. Give us the Capitals pick. We're going to give you a third, second, first. Is that it? Is that what a Mitch Marner trade would look like? To me, honestly, making the trade, it's a lot. In real life, though, if it happened, you'd be like, wow, would you say that Vegas fleeced them? I can't. Just because there's 1 year left in each contract at the time, I feel like you can't say that. But let's say that's what happens. Trade accepted. We're going to best roster it. Vegas is going to pick up Mitch Marner. The Leafs changing things up in a big way. You're still going to have your studs. You're still going to have Matthews. You're going to play Tavares in that second unit. That's not going to happen. You're going to put Knies up here. I think you would put Roy over... Where would you put him? You think he'd be a third liner or a fourth line kind of guy? Maybe move up Robertson. Maybe you play... I mean, it does look like he would be a guy that could stay further up. It does look like right now it looks weaker. But this is Austin Matthews and company. How well does he play with this core, even with the rest of this team like this? It builds up the bottom six a little bit. Definitely weakens the top six. But you got a type of team where you feel confident about that. Now you're looking at Tanev. You're looking at Riley. You're looking at Carlo. I mean, you're looking at a pretty solid defensive core, and you put those two together on the first line, it is pretty nasty. Would you put them together because they're both left-handed defensemen? Probably not. And maybe that's where you say, okay, this is where EA had it right. It would probably be Tanev here, unless we can build the chemistry. We're not. We're going to put it like that because we're going to try to be a little realistic here. Your goalie men are going to be Stolarz. They're going to be Wall. We're going to jump in, sim this season up, and see exactly what we would be looking at. Anyway, here we go. Let's get some games out of the way. Starting the season 2-0. Leafs feeling good about it. Stanley Cup champions. Haven't lost a game all season. Lining it up. Shea Theodore. What a move by this Toronto Maple Leafs organization. Best move they could have made. They was throwing fire. They was throwing bricks at the windows. And all of a sudden, the Maple Leafs are 8-0. I think we're over that, to say the very least. The Maple Leafs started the season 9-0. Under the new regime. What could have been a chemistry breaker, could have been a locker room killer, turned out to be a locker room booster. The team Austin Matthews led and company kept the team playing strong, at least to start the season. 37-8, the Toronto Maple Leafs are still rolling through teams, minus that whooping they just took from the Tampa Bay Lightning there. This is incredible. The Leafs are having a historic season. I'm going to be honest, when I looked at the team on paper, I seen stud, and that top six, but I was like, oh, what's around them? But this it reminds me of back-to-back Pittsburgh Penguins kind of situation. You know, you put some guys on defense a little bit, and you just put anybody. You just put anybody. You put anybody you want. You know, they got a pulse. McDavid and Malkin going to get him some points and score him some goals. That's kind of what the situation felt like when I look at those overalls. And that's what you're getting out of Tavares. That's what you're getting out of Matthews. And that's what's one of the craziest things, because when you sign John Tavares as the Toronto Maple Leafs, I know this is why it blows my mind that they kept this score. When you signed John Tavares was known as that man that got his wingers paid because he was that dang good. He brought up anybody and everybody around him. Where's Molson? Where's Kyle Okposo? What happened to those guys? The man got dudes paid. He never needed Nylander. He never needed Marner. We know Matthews is an absolute stud. So the fact that the Leafs thought they needed these four really good forwards and didn't want to go anywhere else, that always was such a head-scratching move to me. When you could have moved a little bit of that capital around and got some big returns. Throw them out west. Go to the Stanley. Go to the playoffs. Because the Toronto Maple Leafs right now are having a historic season. They're going to drop a 60 burger on this league this season if they can beat two absolute, well, they're not going to beat two absolute bottom of the division teams. They're not even going to win a division, apparently. That was pretty crazy. We was really talking them up, but they didn't even win a division. There's no way that just happened. Let's look at the season. I remember how to get there. They really changed things up this year. I'm learning real quickly while we didn't play franchise this year. The sim this takes so long. What is it? All you do is have 14 minutes simming up that season. Literally, it took 14 minutes to sim one season. 159 points. Woo, that's a lot. That's a lot. What is this? 90 goals? Okay, I turned the scoring up to high because in the past, the scoring in this game, it's low, or it's like a point per game, 80 average, 90 points. And in the league in the NHL today, they're scoring 120 plus all the time. But 90 goals. Matthews couldn't be happier without Mitch Marner. Shea Theodore dropped 90 points, a plus 38. Freaking ridiculous. Now I got to know what the entire league looks like because that's wild. No, Matthews just destroyed everybody, and it wasn't even close. He just bullied everybody. 159 points and 90 goals, a 24.7% shooting percentage. Good freaking luck. Good luck beating this team in the playoffs if Austin Matthews is going to do that. But look at this Florida Panthers team, 60 wins, 124 points. Going to play the Lightning in the first round. And then the Boston Bruins and the rest of the division just kind of fell off. This is going to be a tough matchup. If you ever ran into a team round one that could bounce you, it is the Tampa Bay Lightning. But are things different? Did this team improve with the additions they made in the offseason, or was we just blowing a bunch of smoke to start this video? And it turned out it didn't happen to be Matt Marner's as the problem. There's just more to it. Maybe it's Matthews. Maybe Matthews isn't as clutch as we thought. 2 straight overtime losses. Somebody's got to put one in the back of the bucket. And nobody, and I mean nobody's doing it for the Leafs right now. They're going to get broomed. Wow. It's just the Leafs curse. It is the Leafs curse. They can't help it. Best season they probably had, right? Under this regime with Austin Matthews and company. And they get swept in the first round. Maybe we're going to ship Matthews out the door too. I don't know. That's crazy. Nonetheless, as always, if y'all enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate you liking and subscribing. You never have to. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.